Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Namaste. Now we move on to the next chapter, Lakshana Alankaradi Vivekaha. Diction of a play. He talks about the Lakshanas and Alankaras of a play here in this chapter. The 36 Lakshanas of a good dramatic composition is detailed in this chapter. What are they? The first one is Bhushana, ornateness. Akshara Sanghata, compactness. Shobha, brilliance. Udaharana, parallelism. Hetu, causation. Samshaya, hesitation. Drishtanta, favorable precedent. Prapti, discovery. Abhipraya, fancy. Nidarshana, unfavorable precedent. Nirukta, additional explanation. Siddhi, persuasion. Visheshana, distinction. Gunatipata, accusation of virtue. Gunadishaya, excellence. Tulya Tarka, inference from similitude. Padotchaya, multiplex predication. Dishta, apt description. Upadishta, pointed utterance. Vichara, deliberation. Viparyaya, inversion. Bramsha, slip of the tongue. Anunaya, mediation. Mala, series of offers. Dakshinya, clever manner. Garhana, censure. Arthapatti, presumption. Prasiddhi, celebrity. Pricha, interrogation. Sarupya, identity. Manoratha, indirect expression of one's desire. Lesha, wit. Sankshobha, concealment. Gunakirtana, enumeration of merits. Anukta Siddhi, semi-uttered expression. And finally, Priya Vachana or Priyokti, compliment. These are the 36 Alankaras given here by Bharata. So let us see a few from these. Bharata says, Alankarair gunaishchaiva bahubihi samalankritam bhushanairiva vinyastais tat bhushanam iti smritam. To provide a composition with many figure of speeches, alankaras and gunas, that is the qualities, placed like ornaments, it is called bhushana, that is the ornateness. Second one is compactness. What is compactness? When a wonderful sense is expressed by means of a small number of syllables with double entender, it is called compactness, akshara sanghata, that is assemblage of syllables. Then comes brilliance, where for the purpose of giving distinction to a case of double entender, that is the slesha, a less known meaning is called forth along with the well known meaning. It is called brilliance, shobha, beauty. Each and every term, technical term, all these 36 are explained here with the help of shlokas, definitions given for each alankara. Then comes udaharana, parallelism, when by a sentence expressing a similar situation, a suggestion is made by clever people to accomplish some objects, it is called udaharana, parallelism. Next one, causation, when a brief and pleasing sentence by the force of its tactful use achieves the desired objects, it is called hetu, causation. Next is hesitation, when due to many considerations a sentence is brought to an end without fully communicating the essential theme, it is called hesitation. Doubt or samshaya. Next is favorable precedent, that which supporting the case in hand is an expression of its reason and is pleasing to all people, then it is precedent favorable to the speaker. Drishtanta. Next is discovery, when on seeing some indications the existence of something is assumed, it becomes a discovery, prapti, literally attainment, which is included among the marks of good drama. Then comes fancy, when an idea interesting to people but hitherto non-existent, it is not there but it is interesting to people, it is conceived on the basis of similarity, then it is called abhipraya, fancy or belief. Next is unfavorable precedent, when well known instances are mentioned for rejecting the contrary view, it is called nidarshana, unfavorable precedent. Next is convincing explanation, words that are spoken in support of some unobjectionable statement made before constitute additional explanation, nirukta or etymology. Next is persuasion, when name of many relevant persons are mentioned with a view to accomplish the object aimed at, it is called persuasion or siddhi. Next is distinction, when after mentioning many well known great objects, something is said to distinguish a thing from them, then it is called visheshana, distinction. Next is accusation of virtues, when virtues are mentioned with sweet words of harsh import which carry a contrary implication, it is called gunatipata, accusation of virtues. The next one is excellence. Bharata says, after enumerating the qualities available in a common man, one mentions some special qualities, then it is called atishaya or excellence. The next one is inference from similitude. When an object not believable is inferred from a metaphor or a simile applied in a similar sense, it is inference from similitude, that is tulya tarka. Literally it means reasoning from the comparables. Next one is multiplex predication. When a number of words are used along with a number of other words to form different groups for the same purpose, it becomes an instance of multiplex predication, that is padochaya, collection of words. Next is description. When an object or incident directly seen or not, it is described in harmony with locality, time or form related to it, it becomes apt description, that is dishta. Next is pointed utterance. When one says something with a happy end on the basis of shastras and thereby pleases the learned, it is upadishta, pointed utterance. Next is deliberation. That which establishes something not directly perceived and is in harmony with the meaning expressed earlier and includes much elimination of errors, apoha, the errors. It is called vichara, deliberation. Next is inversion. When due to seeing something, an alteration of deliberation is made on account of a doubt, it is called viparyaya, inversion. So, the shanka, the doubt is there. Next is slip of the tongue. Manifold and sudden deviation of haughty and such other persons from the intended words to something else is called bhramsha, slip of the tongue. Next is mediation. Words which are used to please two persons with mutually opposed resolution and are aimed at accomplishing some object is mediation, anunaya. Next is series of offers. When for the purpose of accomplishing a desired object, one can suggest to a person his many needs that may be met. So, it is the example for mala, a series of offers. Next is clever manners. When one attends another person with a happy and pleased face, sweet speech and agreeable movements, it is clever manners, dakshinya. Next is censure. If anyone mentions someone's faults and explains them as merits, or decries one's merits and calls them as faults, it becomes the instance for garhana, censure. Next is presumption. When from a sweetly worded mention of something, some other objects is to be understood, then it is arthapatti, presumption. Next is celebrity. That which is expressed with excellent words, mentioning many well-known exploits, gives rise to celebrity, the prasiddhi. Next is interrogation. When with gesticulating words one questions oneself or another and speaks something else, it is interrogation, pricha. Next is identity. When from seeing, hearing or feeling something, suddenly one is excited by the likeness of that with another. It is sarupya, identity. Next is indirect expression of desire. Expressing one's secret desire of the heart by a pretense of referring to somebody else's condition is called manoratha, indirect expression of desire. Next is wit, words which are spoken in a clever manner by expert disputants and which relate to accomplishment of similar objects constitute wit, which is lesha. Next is concealment. When being faultless, one takes upon oneself various faults of another or ascribes them to another blameless person. It is concealment or samkshobha. Next is enumeration of merits. When merits of a man who excels in qualities in this world are ascribed to a single person, it is gunakirtana, enumeration of merits. Next is semi-uttered expression. When from the mere commencement of subject, the rest of it is comprehended without being actually expressed in words, it is to be known as anukta siddhi, that is unuttered achievement or semi-uttered expression. Next is compliment. When words are uttered in a pleasant mood to honor an honorable person and to express joy, it is called as priya ukti or compliment or pleasing utterance. Thus, all these 36 are explained here, and if you see, these can be brought in beautifully in the poetry or prose compositions. And not only for that, these can be used as expressions in dance and drama, especially by the characters, the heroines, the hero, when they perform. It can be taken as one of the expressions for the performances. So, a line given in the composition can be beautifully explained to the audience through abhinaya, and these merits or these lakshanas and alankaras can be used to perform as a nayika or a nayaka and make the audience understand the abhinaya. So, these are to be brought into use in dance and drama sequences, not only for composing the drama, but also for the presentation of the drama by the directors. Bharata says, Etani cha kavyasya lakshanani shatrimshad uddeshya nidarshanani prabandha shobhakarani tagnyehi samyak prayojyani yatharasani. So, he says these 36 excellent points of the dramatic compositions conducing to the objects in view will beautify a play composition, and hence they should be properly used according to the rasa based on that poetry. Then he moves on to the figure of speeches. He gives 4 figure of speeches. As we see in Natya Shastra, there are 4 figure of speeches which are simile, upama, metaphor, rupaka, condensed expression, deepaka, and yamaka, which is alliteration. Then he moves on to the doshas, 10 doshas which are not to be followed in a kavya. What are these? The faults in a play may be of 10 kinds. Gudhartha, the circumlocution, the indirect meaning. Next is arthantara, superfluous expression. Third one is arthahina, want of significance or meaning. Bhinna artha, defective significance or defective meaning. Ekartha, tautology. Abhiplutartha, abhiplutartha, want of synthesis. Nyayadapeta, logical defect. Vishama, metrical defects. Visandhi, hiatus. And Shabdachuta, slang. These are explained by Bharata by giving a definition for each one. So now, for example, the Gudhartha, hidden meaning, should not be there. Then the Arthantara, where when anything not necessary, it should not be there, it should not be expressed. Without giving a proper meaning, arthahina, irrelevant things should not be there. Then he says, binna artha, the expression which is not refined. These are all defects for a poetry. Then indiscriminating, the use of many words for a single purpose. So these are to be avoided, especially in writing a poetry. There should not be metrical defect, he says. When words which should combine as in sandhi is kept apart, it is also not right. And then he moves on to gunas. Same way, he gives the qualities of a drama, of a kavya, 10 qualities. They are shlesha, synthesis, prasada, perspicuity, samata, smoothness, samadhi, concentration, madhurya, sweetness, ojas, grandeur, saukmarya, agreeableness or delicacy, from the word sukumara. Artha vyakti, directness of expression. Udara, exaltedness. And kanti, loveliness, are the 10 qualities of a kavya. So again, the definition and the explanation for these. The union of words connected through the meaning, it should be there. Then the quality of prasada, where the unexpressed word or sense is comprehended through the use of easily understood words. Then samata, smoothness. Then careful condensation of meaning suggested by and derived from similes and other figure of speeches. Then sweetness in the words and sentences. Grandeur to be there, that is the ojas. Then of course the composition should consist of words easy to pronounce. They have to be euphonically combined and giving agreeable impression These are to be seen as the qualities of a poetry. The compositions should include witty and graceful words, and these are the 10 qualities which he has put together in this chapter. Then he says these are the figure of speeches, alankaras, doshas, faults, and gunas, qualities. And now he says how these are applied in a kavya. He talks about sounds and figure of speeches according to the sentiments, meters according to the sentiments in the heroic Veera Rasa and the furious Raudra Rasa. What are all the figure of speeches to be used? The meters connected with each rasa are mentioned here, and the vowels which are to be uttered in different bhavas and rasas, that is the short vowels, long vowels. We saw about Rasva, Dirgha, all these Pluta, how it should be uttered during the expression of these bhava and rasa, which enhance the bhava. How a word when it is stretched, it enhances a particular bhava. How a word when it is very short, how it enhances a bhava. For example, in the Raudra Rasa we have short words quickly uttered, and in Veera Rasa we have stretched words. Like that, he gives details about these in this chapter, and thus finally he says the delicate dramatic art with harsh words such as Chekridita does not appear beautiful. Hence, so these words should be avoided, and a play abounding in agreeable sounds and senses, containing no obscure or difficult words, intelligible to country people, including clever speeches fit to be interpreted with dance and music, and developing bhava and rasa, and having suitable sandhis and proper connections between them, becomes best of the drama and worth fit for a presentation. This is a beautiful shloka which goes like this: Mridu lalita padartham guda shabdartha heenam jana pada sukha bhogyam buddhimanritta yojyam bahu rasa krita margam sandhi sandhana yuktam bhavati jagati yogyam natakam prekshakanam. Thus he ends this chapter on Lakshana and Alankara. So let us move on to the next chapter in the next class. Namaste.